The marble was already clean. She mopped it anyway. Anna Brooks was black, slender, 35, and invisible. 3 years she'd shown up at 5:30 in the dark to clean an elite finance building she would never be allowed to work inside. Gray-blue uniform, bun pulled tight, rubber gloves, a name half the managers didn't know. They called her the floor decoration. They knocked her supplies behind the planters for sport. Richard let his papers fall across the wet tile she'd just finished and walked away. Somebody'll get that. She got it. She always got it. She gripped the cloth, swallowed it, and kept working. Because the rent came on the first, and speaking up cost the job. 11 floors above her, in a room she didn't know existed, a man watched every second of it on a wall of screens. Kang Disiok. He owned the building, the floors, the people who walked them. A dragon climbed the side of his neck toward his jaw. Nobody had ever seen his face, so he made a choice. He pulled on a yellow delivery jacket, a fake beard, a low cap. And the next morning, at the exact hour she started, he walked into his own lobby as a man nobody looks at twice. She handed him her last clean towel in the rain. "Hard day?" he asked. "Normal day," she said. But what he saw in that hallway. Before starting the story, comment down below where you are watching from and what time it is there. If stories of karma, love, and hidden truths move you, leave a like, be sure to subscribe to the channel, and click join to become a member and help our channel. The marble was already clean. Anna Brooks ran the mop across it anyway, one long stroke, because the lobby was hers for 40 more minutes before the building woke up. She liked it like this. Empty. The high glass throwing back the gray light off the river. No one to step around. No one to step on her. She tied her bun tighter and worked the floor near the revolving doors where the night shoes left their salt. The first ones came in at 6:50. Finance people. Coffee cups, lanyards, voices already loud. Anna moved her cart against the wall and kept her eyes on the tile. Claire Whitmore came through the doors at 7 exactly. Blonde, blazer, heels that announced her 3 steps early. Madison trailed behind, laughing at something before it was even funny. "Careful," Claire said, not slowing. "Don't slip on the floor decoration." Madison laughed, the real laugh this time. Anna kept mopping. She'd heard worse. She'd hear worse before lunch. Vanessa came next, and Vanessa didn't talk. Vanessa worked quieter. She drifted past the cart, and when she was gone, the spray bottle Anna needed was gone too, tucked behind a planter where it would take 10 minutes to find. Anna found it in 8. She'd learned the spots. She needed this job. That was the whole arithmetic of it. The rent came on the first. The cleaning company paid every other Friday, never a day early. 3 years she'd shown up at 5:30 in the dark, and 3 years the floor had been the cleanest thing in the building, and nobody had ever said a word about that. Richard Halloway arrived last, the way men who own their hour arrive. Gray suit, open collar, coffee in his hand like a scepter. He stopped at the front desk to sign for a folder. He read one line, frowned, and let the pages go. They fanned across the wet floor she'd just finished. "Oops," Richard said, "already walking. Somebody'll get that." Anna got it. She crouched, gathered the pages, squared the corners, set them on the desk. Her knee left a damp print on her uniform trousers. Claire watched from the elevator bank and said something to Madison behind her cup, and both of them looked at Anna and looked away. "She matches the bucket," Claire said, loud enough. Anna's hand closed on the cloth. Hard, the cotton bunched in her fist. Her lips parted, and for 1 second the lobby went very quiet in her ears, just the hum of the elevators and the blood behind her eyes. She swallowed it. She always swallowed it. She unfolded the cloth, wiped the desk where the coffee had ringed it, and pushed her cart toward the service hall. The doors closed on the 4 of them going up. 11 floors above the lobby, in a room the 4 of them didn't know existed, a wall of monitors showed all of it. Mina Co. had been watching the cameras for 12 minutes. She watched a lot of things people assumed nobody watched. It was the part of the job she was good at noticing. She rewound the lobby feed, watched Richard let the pages fall a second time. Watched the woman in the gray-blue uniform crouch to collect them, the small dip of the head, the squared corners. Watched her stand. Mina pulled the timestamps. She typed a string into the search field and ran it back through 2 weeks of footage. It was all there. Vanessa hiding the cloths, the spray, the spare bags like a habit she enjoyed. Claire at the elevators, mouth moving, the cleaner's face going still and then not still. Richard and his papers, again, a man feeding his coffee cup while a woman knelt at his shoes. And the woman, always the same woman, always finishing the floor, always coming back the next morning at 5:30 in the dark. Mina took the tablet under her arm and rode the private elevator to the top. The office at the top had no nameplate. Kang Disiok owned the floors and the people who walked them, and most of them never knew his face. He was reading a contract when she came in. Black suit, white shirt, the thin dark tie. The collar sat high on his neck, and where it gapped, a sliver of fine black line showed, the tail of a dragon that climbed toward his jaw and stopped where the cloth began. "You don't knock," he said. He didn't look up. "You tell me to come in anyway." He set the contract down. Mina put the tablet on the desk and turned it to face him and pressed play. He watched the lobby, the pages falling, the woman kneeling. He watched it the way he watched everything, still, narrow-eyed, giving nothing. "Play the rest," he said. She played the 2 weeks. The hiding, the laughing, the same uniform, the same bun, the same back bending and straightening and bending again. He watched all of it without touching his coffee. When it ended, he sat for a moment with his hands folded. "Who is she?" "Outsourced, cleaning contract, 3 years. Mina swiped to a personnel record so thin it was almost empty. "Her name's Anna Brooks. The managers don't know it. Half of them think she's furniture." Disiok's eyes moved over the frozen frame. The woman mid-stand, the wet print on her knee, the cloth still gripped in her fist. "And the ones laughing," he said, "they report to Holloway. Holloway reports to you, he just doesn't know your face." Something shifted in the room, not loud, the way the air changes before weather. "None of them know my face," Disiok said, slow, like the idea was forming as he spoke it. He stood and crossed to the window and looked down 11 floors to the lobby he owned and had never once walked across as himself. "What does a building do," he said, "when the man at the top is invisible?" "It tells the truth," Mina said. "It stops performing." He turned from the glass. "Find me a uniform," he said. "Not this one." He touched the lapel of the black suit. "The other kind, the kind nobody looks at twice." Mina didn't smile, but something in her dark eyes settled, the look of a woman who'd been waiting 2 weeks for exactly this. "What name do I put on the order?" "None of mine," he said. "I want to walk in there tomorrow morning. Same hour she starts. And I want to find out, with my own 2 feet on that floor, how this building treats the people it pretends not to see." He looked at the frozen woman on the tablet one more time. "Make it a delivery," he said. "Make it yellow." The rain came down the glass in sheets, and the yellow jacket was already soaked at the shoulders when he pushed through the revolving doors. He carried the thermal backpack high on his spine, helmet under one arm, a low cap pulled to his brow. The fake beard itched. The gloves were a size too big. Nobody at reception looked up. That was the point. Nobody looked up. "Delivery for the finance floor," he said, voice flattened, hunched a little at the shoulders so the height read smaller. The desk guard waved a hand toward the far hall without lifting his eyes from his phone. Kang Disiok had owned the building for 6 years and had never once been waved past his own desk. He let it land. He filed it. He went the wrong way on purpose. The service corridor smelled of bleach and wet rubber. Halfway down it, a woman in gray-blue was on one knee, wringing a cloth into a bucket, working at a long brown spill that had run under the baseboard. He knew the back of that bun. He'd watched it bend and straighten for 2 weeks on a wall of screens. "Sorry," Anna said, sliding the cart aside to clear his path. She didn't look up at first. People in yellow jackets weren't worth the look. "Careful, it's slick right there." "Finance floor?" he asked. Now she looked. Tired eyes, steady. She read the soaked jacket, the backpack, the helmet, and something in her softened, one tired person clocking another out in the rain. "You came in the long way." She stood, wiped her palm on her trousers, and pointed past him. "Elevators are back through the lobby. Take it to 11. You'll get drips on their carpet, and they'll act like you bled on it." A small dry pull at the corner of her mouth. "Take the towel." She pulled a clean, folded cloth off the cart and held it out. He looked at it, a stranger in a soaked jacket, and she was giving away the only clean thing on her cart. "You'll want it back," he said. "I've got more." She pushed it into his gloved hand. "Go on, they don't like the help dripping." He took it. The dragon shifted under his collar when he tipped his head, and the rain on the towel smelled like her cleaning products, and he understood already that the report he'd read upstairs had been too thin by half. "Hard day?" he asked. She crouched back to the spill. The cloth went in, came out, went in again. "Normal day," she said. He didn't move yet. He watched the way she worked the corner where the floor met the wall, the part no one would ever see, the part she did anyway. The elevator opened at the end of the hall and the morning arrived with it. Claire first, heels firing off the tile. Madison a half step behind. Vanessa drifting wide, eyes already on the cart. And Richard, coffee aloft, slowing the second he saw a target on the floor. "Oh, she's still down there," Claire said to the room, to the delivery guy, to anyone. "Honestly, it suits her. Some people are built to lead." She tipped her cup at Anna. "And some are built to clean the path so the rest of us don't have to look down." Madison laughed on cue. Vanessa reached the cart and without breaking stride knocked the spare bottle behind the planter again. A small smile. A private little theft. Anna kept working the corner. Her shoulders set. The cloth moved. "You don't have to answer her," Decioc said. The hall went quiet a beat. They'd forgotten the man in yellow was a person who could speak. Claire turned, took him in the soaked jacket, the backpack, the cheap helmet, and her mouth curled. "Oh, look, the bike found a friend." She stepped closer, heels clicking, and looked him up and down the way she'd looked at Anna. "Let me guess, $12 an hour and a hot bag, you two should compare benefits. Do you always talk to her like this?" he asked. Richard sipped his coffee. "It talks," he said, amused, to Claire. "The yellow one talks." "They get bold when they're wet," Claire said. Madison giggled. Vanessa came back around the cart, emboldened now, and tipped the bucket with the side of her shoe just enough. Brown water spread back across the floor Anna had nearly finished. "Whoops," Vanessa said. Anna froze for 1 second. Lips parted. Her hand gripped the cloth, the cotton bunching white in her fist, and her eyes shone and did not spill. She breathed. She reached for the mop. Decioc watched her swallow it. Watched her choose the floor over the fight the way she must have chosen it 1,000 mornings, because speaking cost the job, and the job was the rent, and the rent was the whole arithmetic of her life. He looked at the 4 of them. Claire, smug, Madison, echoing. Vanessa, petty. Richard, bored already, checking his watch, a steel thing. Decioc had given the man a bonus that bought that watch. "You think she's beneath you," Decioc said. Quiet. The dangerous voice came up through the flattened one for just a breath, and Anna, mopping, heard the difference and didn't know why her hands stilled. "She's the help," Richard said. "We're the floor that earns. She's the floor that gets cleaned. It's not complicated, friend." "No," Decioc said. "It's not." He set the towel down on the cart, folded, clean side up. "I'll find the elevator myself," he said, and walked past them toward the lobby, helmet under his arm, the cap still low. Claire watched him go and laughed, turning back to the others. "God, even the delivery boy thinks he's somebody." "Everyone thinks they're somebody," Richard said, stepping over the spreading water without looking down, until somebody reminds them what they are. Behind them, unseen, the man in the yellow jacket stopped at the lobby's edge. He didn't press the elevator button. He turned and looked back down the long hall at the woman on her knees and at the 4 standing over her like the morning belonged to them. Then he raised one gloved hand to the brim of the cap and began, slowly, to lift it. Claire's voice cut across the lobby before the cap had moved an inch. "Hey, delivery guy, did anyone order this?" The hand stopped. Kang Decioc lowered it again, slow, leaving the cap where it was. He watched her over the top of the thermal backpack. Claire didn't notice. She was already turning back to Anna, who knelt by the spilled coffee with a cloth pressed flat to the marble. "Don't talk to him," Claire said. "He's busy. Aren't you, sweetheart? Busy down there with your little bucket?" Madison laughed. Vanessa laughed louder because Vanessa always laughed louder. Anna kept wiping. Small circles. The coffee had run under the edge of the planter, and she had to reach for it, shoulder twisting, badge swinging from her chest. "Look at her," Claire said. She crouched down beside Anna, designer heels splayed, and tilted her head like she was studying an animal. 3 years. 3 years she's been crawling around this floor. You ever think about that? Some people are born to lead. She straightened. And some are born to clean the path so the rest of us don't dirty our shoes. Richard came out of the elevator with his coffee cup. He saw the gathering. He smiled the way men smile when they've found a way to be cruel and call it a joke. "What's the holdup?" he said. "Anna made a mess," Claire said. "Again?" "I didn't," Anna started. "She's apologizing." Richard set his cup on the reception ledge. "Did you hear that? She talks now." Anna's jaw moved. Nothing came out. She looked at the cloth in her hand. Richard reached into the folder under his arm and pulled out a stack of printed pages. Quarterly something. He didn't read them. He held them over the wet patch she'd just cleaned and opened his fingers. The pages came down like leaves. Some landed in the coffee. Some skated across the dry marble. One settled face up against her knee. "Oops," Richard said. "Better get those." Mina Co. stood by the far column. She had a tablet in both hands and she had stopped moving entirely. Anna reached for the first page. Her fingers closed on it. The paper was soaked at one corner, ink bleeding into a gray smear. She set it on the stack on her cart, reached for the next. "Slower," Vanessa said. She'd moved behind the cart while no one watched, and now she nudged it. Just a few inches, just enough that when Anna reached back for the bucket, it wasn't where she'd left it. Anna's hand met empty air, the laughter again. All 3 women this time, bright and easy, the sound of people who had never once been the one on the floor. "Did you lose something?" Vanessa said. Anna turned, saw the bucket, 2 feet to the left where it had no reason to be. She didn't say anything. She crawled to it. The knees of her uniform trousers were dark now, wet through, and the marble was cold and she could feel it in her bones. She wrung the cloth. Water ran gray into the bucket. The delivery man hadn't moved. He stood there in the yellow jacket with the helmet under his arm and watched, and to the 4 of them he was nothing furniture, a witness who didn't count, a man whose opinion was worth less than the coffee on the floor. "You know what kills me?" Claire said to the others, loud enough for Anna. She could have quit. Years ago, gone somewhere they'd let her mop in peace. But no, she stays, begs for it. Claire looked down. "Why do you stay, Anna?" "Tell the nice delivery man. Tell him why a grown woman crawls around picking up paper for people who can't stand the sight of her." Anna lifted her head. For 1 second she looked straight at the man in yellow, not at Claire. At him. Eyes wet at the rims, lips parted, the cloth twisted hard around her knuckles until the fabric went white. She knew exactly why she stayed. Her sister's medical bills. The room she rented above the laundromat. The fact that decent jobs did not line up for a 35-year-old black woman with a cleaning company on her resume and no degree behind her name. She knew that if she stood up and said one true thing, she would be out the door by noon, with nothing under her, no floor, no net, only the long fall she'd been one paycheck from her whole adult life. So she swallowed it, she always swallowed it. "I don't mind the work," Anna said. Quiet, even, she doesn't mind the work. Richard picked his coffee back up. "Hear that? She doesn't mind. God, that's bleak." He took a sip and, walking past her, tipped the cup. Not all of it. Just a thread of brown that struck the marble inches from her hand and splashed up onto the page she'd just rescued. "Whoops," he said again and didn't break stride. Anna stared at the new stain. Her shoulders started to shake. She pressed her lips together hard and forced them still. Not here, not in front of them, not in front of the stranger. She wiped the new spill, set the ruined page aside, reached for another. Madison was filming now. Phone up, angled down, the little red dot. For the group chat, she said to Claire, and Claire grinned and stepped into frame and pointed one manicured finger down at the kneeling woman like a hunter beside a kill. 3 years, Claire said into the camera, and she still can't keep a floor clean. Mina took 1 step forward from the column. Her knuckles were white on the tablet. The man in yellow turned his head and looked at her. Something passed between them, small, silent, a question and an answer. Anna gathered the last page. She stacked them, soaked and smeared and worthless now, on her cart. She picked up the bucket. She stood, knees cracking, water dripping from the cloth, and she did not look at any of them. She pushed the cart toward the service corridor. One wheel squeaked. The laughter followed her the whole way, and somewhere behind it, Madison's voice said send it to the whole floor, and Anna kept walking because walking was the only thing left that was hers. She reached the corridor door, put her hand on it. Behind her, the lobby had gone strangely quiet. She didn't turn around. She didn't see the man in the yellow jacket set the helmet down on the reception ledge, beside Richard's coffee cup, with a click that was louder than it should have been. She didn't see him raise both hands to the brim of his cap. The cap came off in one motion, then the fake beard. He peeled it from his jaw and let it fall on the reception ledge beside the helmet, and the slouch went out of his shoulders like water poured from a glass. He stood up straight. He got taller. The yellow jacket was the same cheap yellow it had been a minute ago, but the man inside it was not the same man. Black hair, slicked back. A jaw cut like stone. And on the right side of his neck, where the collar had ridden down, a thin black dragon coiled up toward his ear. Claire's smile was still on her face. It just stopped meaning anything. "Mr. Kang?" The reception clerk had risen halfway out of her chair. Her voice cracked on the second word. Mr. Kang?" The name went across the lobby like a current. Madison's phone lowered on its own. Vanessa took a step back into the planter and didn't notice the leaves against her shoulder. Richard, halfway to the elevator, turned around with the coffee cup still at his lips. Anna's hand was on the corridor door. She turned because everyone turned. Kang Disiok did not look at the four of them. He looked at the woman by the service door with the bucket in her hand and the wet knees and the badge hanging crooked off her chest. "You asked her why she stays," he said. His voice was low. It carried anyway. "I'd like to hear the rest of that conversation." Nobody answered. "No." He picked up the helmet, turned it once in his hands, set it down again. "Strange, you had so much to say 2 minutes ago." Mina Co. crossed the floor. She didn't hurry. She reached the reception desk, leaned over it, and the building's main lobby screen, the one that usually scrolled the weather and the floor directory, went black, then white, then filled with footage. It was the lobby. This lobby. Time-stamped 3 weeks back. Richard on the screen, dropping a folder of papers onto the marble at Anna's feet. Better get those. The audio was crisp. Mina had not pulled it from one camera. She had pulled it from all of them. The screen cut. Vanessa nudging the cart, Anna's hand meeting empty air. Cut. Claire crouched beside the kneeling woman. Some people are born to lead. Cut. Madison's own phone footage, the red dot, the manicured finger pointing down like a hunter beside a kill, and she still can't keep a floor clean playing back at them on a screen 4 feet wide. Claire's mouth opened. That was edited, that's out of 3 weeks, Mina said. She wasn't loud either. None of them were loud. That was the worst part. 41 separate incidents. I logged them as they happened. I brought them to Mr. Kang myself. You can't film employees without, you filmed her, Mina said. For the group chat. The screen went dark. In the silence, Kang Disiok walked to Anna's cart. He looked at the stack of pages on top, soaked brown and ruined. Then he looked at the lower shelf where, between the spray bottles and the folded cloths, sat a notebook, spiral-bound, the cover soft from handling. He'd seen her tuck something there that morning when he'd been nobody. "May I?" he asked her. Anna stared at him. After a moment, she gave the smallest nod. He lifted the notebook out. He opened it to the middle and went still. "Mina." He held it up. "Look at this." Mina came. She read over his shoulder, and her calm face did something it almost never did. It changed. Pages of it. 3 years of it. Route timings for the cleaning crew, rewritten to cut 40 minutes off the night shift. A diagram of the building's supply waste, which floors overordered, which underordered, where the company hemorrhaged money every quarter. A note on the elevator maintenance schedule with the line they're servicing the wrong bank during peak hours underlined twice. Vendor costs. Headcount math. A whole operations plan, self-taught, hand-drawn, sharper than anything the people who mocked her had ever put on paper. "Who taught you this?" Kang asked. "Nobody," Anna said. "I just watched. You see a lot from the floor." He closed the notebook gently, the way a man closes something valuable. Then he turned to Richard. "You've run the finance floor for 6 years," he said. "Tell me where the building loses the most money per quarter." Richard's mouth worked. There are reports, I'd have to," she knew without a report. Kang set the notebook on the reception ledge beside the discarded helmet and the fake beard and Richard's own coffee cup. "You threw paper at the only person in this building who understood the paper." He didn't raise his voice once. "Richard Halloway, you're done. Performance reviews don't clean racism off a man." He looked at the 3 women. "Whitmore, Clark, Doyle, suspended, pending review. Pack your desks today. Security will walk you out." Claire found her voice. "You can't over a cleaner, over a coordinator," Kang said. He turned to Anna. The whole lobby was looking at her now, and for once it was looking at her face and not the floor she was kneeling on. "The position is coordinator of building operations," he said. "It's not charity. I read 3 pages and I'm already going to use half of it. You'll have an office, a badge that opens every floor, a salary that pays your sister's bills and then some." He paused. "I'm offering it because you earned it 3 years ago and nobody had the decency to notice. Say yes." Anna's hand came up to her mouth. The cloth was still in it, twisted white. Her shoulders shook the way they'd shaken on the floor, but her chin was up now, and the tears that came were not the kind she'd swallowed all morning. These ones she let fall. "Yes," she said. 6 weeks later, a plaque went up by the service corridor, "Building Operations, A. Brooks, coordinator, and the cleaning crew got new contracts, real wages, names on their lockers." And on a gray Tuesday morning, the door to the executive boardroom opened, and Anna Brooks walked in. Caramel blazer, hair loose, badge bright on her chest, a folder of her own under her arm. Every man and woman at that long table stood up. She set the folder down at the head of it, where her seat was now, and she looked at them the way you look at people who finally see you. "Let's get to work," she said.
If you want to watch all the stories without any ads and also get access to bonus scenes, extended epilogues, and exclusive spicy chapters, head over to our Patreon. Scan the QR code on the screen. The link is in the description or in the pinned comment. See you there.
If this story moved you, stop for a moment and reflect. Have you ever shown up every morning to a job that treated you like furniture, doing the corner no one would ever see, simply because you needed it? Have you ever kept a quiet record of your own worth, the thing you knew you could do better than the people standing over you, and waited for the day someone finally saw it? Tell us your experiences and feelings in the comments. We read them all. And if you believe in stories about dignity, invisibility, and justice, leave a like, be sure to subscribe to the channel, and click join to become a part of our community and help the channel.